You possess a pair of perfectly clean hands, a brain filled with complex strategies, and a long list of things you plan to do someday soon. Congratulations, you own a perfect life, but only on paper. This stillness is the silence of a soul that has never ventured outside its comfort zone. But here is the brutal truth you must face. A pair of hands that are too clean is the sign of a life that hasn't started. Why do 10,000 beautiful words mean nothing compared to a single callus on your palm? The answer lies at the edge of a rotting bridge. Are you truly living your life? Or are you just a spectator describing it from the sidelines? It is time to stop dreaming and start doing. We live in an era of theoretical architects. People who can design magnificent castles in their minds but are terrified of touching the actual wet clay. Daniel was a master of the plan. He had every step mapped out, every risk calculated, yet he remained stationary while the world moved past him. His journals were full of wisdom he never applied. The pages were flat and white, never stained by the sweat of effort or the dirt of reality. Clean hands are the symbol of the intellectual superiority he used to deceive himself. In reality, they were the shackles of a man afraid to fail. Time is the only currency that cannot be refunded. Every second spent planning without acting is a second stolen from the person you were meant to become. He decided to face his greatest fear, the unknown. He stepped away from the glass towers and into the damp, unpredictable reality of the deep woods. There it was, a bridge that had once connected to worlds, now nothing more than a pile of rotting timber and broken promises in the mist. In his mind, he knew the physics of repair. He understood the geometry of the structure, but the wood didn't care about his intellectual theories today. The mud was cold, the wood was slippery, and the reality of physical labor began to crash down upon his fragile sense of self-importance and pride. His instinct was to run back to his office, back to the safety of spreadsheets and the comfort of things he could control with a simple click. The river doesn't listen to your excuses. It doesn't care about your potential. It only respects the bridge that is strong enough to cross its path. He realized that his entire life had been spent avoiding the dirt. But without the dirt, nothing grows. Without the struggle, there is no real strength. The first step is always the hardest. It is the moment you decide that the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. Theory says the saw should glide through the wood. Reality says the blade is dull, your muscles are weak, and the work is harder than imagined. The saw got stuck. His rhythm was broken. This was the moment where most people quit and go back to talking about their great big dreams. Pain is the price of awakening. Each drop of sweat is a payment toward a new version of yourself that is actually capable of achieving something. The first blister is a shock to the system. It is a physical reminder that you are finally engaging with the world instead of just watching it. When you bleed for your work, the work becomes a part of you. You are no longer an observer. You are now a creator in the arena. Your ego wants you to stop. It wants to protect the image of the man with the clean hands. But that man was already a ghost. He chose to continue, not because it was easy, but because he finally understood that the only way to the other side was through the hard work. The sound of progress is rarely a beautiful melody. It is the sound of heavy breathing, striking metal, and the groaning of old, stubborn wood beams. You cannot build a future if you are afraid to get your hands dirty today. The weight you carry now will become the strength you have later. Every step in the mud is a victory over the version of you that wanted to stay clean and safe. Real progress is always messy and loud. The hours began to blur. The sun beat down on him, and the humidity felt like a physical weight. But his mind was becoming strangely clear. His clean hands were dying. They were being replaced by the hands of a builder. Hands that knew the texture of effort and the price of creation. He looked like a different man. The polish was gone, replaced by a raw, primal energy that books and theories could never hope to provide him. There is a deep, soul-level satisfaction in building something that stays put. A reality that exists because you willed it into being with your own sweat. Action has a strange magic. It turns fear into confidence. The more he did, the less he doubted. The bridge was becoming a physical reality. When you stop talking and start working, the world begins to change around you. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become their master. He was no longer fighting the wood. He was working with it. The bridge was a conversation between a man and the materials of his life. Exhaustion had set in, but it was a good kind of tired. It was the fatigue of a man who had finally given his all to something. The goal was within reach. But the lesson wasn't just in the crossing. It was in every strike of the hammer that led him here today. He felt more alive in this mud than he ever had in his air-conditioned office. He had traded his comfort for a sense of purpose. The final act is always the most meaningful. It is the moment where the dream and the reality finally become one inseparable, solid whole structure. Done. The silence that followed was different. It wasn't the silence of emptiness. It was the silence of a job well done and a battle won. The bridge didn't just connect to banks of a river. It connected Daniel to the strongest, most capable version of himself that ever existed. There is no feeling like standing on something you built with your own two hands. It is a pride that no amount of money can buy. Those calluses are his medals of honor. They are the evidence that he was there, that he struggled, and that he ultimately overcame the obstacles. He had turned a barrier into a gateway. That is the true power of action. It changes the landscape of reality for everyone who follows after. The curse of the clean hands was broken. He was no longer a ghost in a machine. He was a man of the earth and action. He returned to the city, but he didn't leave the forest behind. He brought the spirit of the builder back into the world of glass towers. The plans were still there, but they were no longer enough. He knew that a plan without a hammer is just a beautiful, empty hallucination. He stopped waiting for the perfect moment. He understood that the perfect moment is created through the act of doing, not through the act of waiting. The world is built by those who are willing to get their hands dirty. The creators, the makers, the ones who aren't afraid of a few scars. Legacy isn't found in what you say you will do. It is found in the physical marks you leave on the world through your consistent effort. He traded his distance for presence. He traded his perfection for progress. He finally understood that a dirty hand is a sign of a full life. Your actions have ripples that you may never see. The bridge you build today might be the path someone else needs to find their way home. Never be ashamed of your scars. They are the map of your journey and the proof that you had the courage to actually show up. A new day is an opportunity to stop talking. It is a chance to move from the world of ideas into the world of tangible results. The curse of the clean hands only has power if you allow it. You can break it at any moment by simply picking up the tools. Don't let your life be a series of what-ifs. Let it be a series of I dids. The clock is ticking for all of us. Vanish into the work. Find yourself in the struggle. The most beautiful things in this world are always covered in a little bit of dust. Which hands would you rather have? The ones that did nothing, or the ones that built something that truly mattered to you and others? A life built on action can weather any storm. A life built on words will crumble at the first sign of real trouble or rain. The world doesn't need more people who can describe the problem. It needs people who are willing to sweat and bleed to find the solution. The bridge is everywhere. It's the project you're avoiding. It's the conversation you're fearing. It's the dream you haven't dared to start yet today. Your potential is a heavy burden if you never use it. Set it down. Pick up the hammer. Let the work set you free finally. This story isn't for your entertainment. It's a wake-up call. The video is almost over, and your real life is waiting for you outside. What will you build today? What will your hands look like by the time the sun goes down and the day is finally done for good? The curse of the clean hands ends now. It ends the moment you decide that your actions will finally speak louder than your many words. Go get your hands dirty. Go feel the weight of the world. Go build the bridge that you were always meant to cross in life. Success is a dirty business. It requires you to step out of the shadows and into the heat of the day with absolute resolve. This is your life. It is not a dress rehearsal. It is a one-time opportunity to make something that actually lasts beyond your own words. You can always wash the dirt off your skin, but you can never wash the regret of inaction off your soul if you don't start. Be the one who does. Be the one who builds. Be the one who isn't afraid to fail because they are too busy succeeding in reality. Teach the next generation that work is a privilege. Show them that the most valuable things are the ones they have to work for. Every callus is a story. Every scar is a lesson. Every act of labor is a brick in the temple of your own character and soul. Don't just watch this story. Go out and write your own with your own hands. The world is waiting for you to pick up the tools. There is no limit to what you can build if you are willing to sacrifice your comfort for the sake of your true, deep purpose. Stop describing your life. Start living it. Put down the phone, get up from your chair, and go get your hands dirty right now today.